Earth, humanity's ultimate training ground, top HFY stories. The Galactic Council had long underestimated Earth. Nestled in a quiet arm of the Milky Way, it was classified as a Category C planet, primitive, resource limited, and home to a species with little more than rudimentary technology. The Council had dismissed the planet's inhabitants, humans, as unworthy of significant attention. That is, until the day humanity revealed what they had truly become. In the heart of the Andromeda system, an elite assembly of alien generals, strategists, and diplomats gathered around a holographic display of Earth. They had witnessed something impossible, and now, they had to understand it. We've been monitoring this species for centuries, and yet, Commander Var of the Zalvar Dominion's voice trembled with disbelief. His taloned hand waved over the display, triggering a replay of the event that had shocked the galaxy. A human, clad in nothing more than worn armor, stood alone on the battlefield. Facing her was an entire battalion of Alden shock troopers, hulking, armored behemoths equipped with plasma rifles, energy shields, and years of combat experience. The Alden were considered one of the deadliest forces in the galaxy. The human woman, identified as Captain Alyssa Martinez, should have been no match. She carried a basic rifle, a few grenades, and a standard-issue combat knife. Yet, as the alien warriors charged, she didn't retreat. Instead, she advanced. The assembly watched, jaws slack, as Alyssa moved like a force of nature. Her rifle barked out in rapid bursts, each shot finding its mark with unerring precision. She moved swiftly and with purpose, dodging energy blasts as though she could see the future. In close combat, she fought with brutal efficiency, dodging, weaving, and using her limited arsenal to maximum effect. When her rifle ran dry, she did not falter. She drew her knife, and in a flurry of lethal strikes, she downed alien after alien. By the end of the footage, the field was littered with the bodies of the Alden warriors, and Alyssa, bloody but still standing, raised her fist in defiance. This is impossible," General Crix of the Alden growled, his golden eyes narrowing as he reviewed the footage for the 100th time. "How can a single human defeat an entire battalion of our best troops?" Ambassador Iralak of the Varkan, a species known for their meticulous research and strategic thinking, chimed in. "It's not just one. We've received multiple reports of human soldiers performing similar feats across the galaxy. They endure harsh conditions, adapt to alien environments, and excel in combat situations where others would fail. We've seen humans survive the freezing wastelands of Enyketa, endure the acidic rains of Zokar 9, and repel invasions on planets with gravity 10 times that of their home world. How is this possible?" Silence filled the room as the question lingered. Then, a voice, calm and steady, spoke from the back of the room. "Earth." Heads turned as Professor Lomar, a Kelsari scientist and longtime observer of Earth, stepped forward. His many eyes blinked in sequence as he tapped a few commands into the holographic interface. The image of Earth rotated slowly above the table, its blue oceans and green continents serene and unassuming. "Humans are a product of their environment," Lomar began. "Unlike many species in the galaxy, they evolved on a world fraught with danger. Earth, by galactic standards, is a death world. Its gravity is higher than that of most habitable planets. Its weather patterns are extreme, ranging from scorching deserts to frigid tundras. Predators, diseases, and natural disasters have shaped the human race into what they are today: resilient, adaptable, and fierce." The assembly watched as Lomar zoomed in on different regions of Earth: towering mountains, deep forests, violent oceans. It was clear that Earth was no gentle cradle for life. "From the moment they are born, humans are in constant training," Lomar continued. "Their childhoods are filled with challenges, physical, emotional, and mental. They face adversity from their environment and from each other. Competition is ingrained in their society. They push themselves to the brink through war, exploration, and technological innovation. For humans, hardship is not something to be avoided, it is something to be embraced." Commander Var scowled, his long fangs glinting under the room's dim lights. "So you're saying Earth made them this way? A backwater planet with primitive technology?" Lomar nodded. "Precisely. Earth's harsh conditions forged humans into warriors without them even realizing it. For them, survival is second nature. They adapt quickly to any situation, turning every disadvantage into an opportunity. When they venture into the galaxy, they bring with them the lessons of Earth, and that is why they are so dangerous." General Crix clenched his fists. This doesn't explain how they surpass our warriors in skill and strength. We've trained for centuries, using the most advanced technology the galaxy has to offer. Lomar smiled softly. But training in controlled environments can only take a species so far. Humans train in chaos, in unpredictability. Their wars are brutal, their challenges unrelenting, and they have a psychological edge, what they call determination. Humans refuse to surrender, even in the face of overwhelming odds. This mental fortitude is something no technology can replicate. The room grew quiet as the reality of Lomar's words settled in. Earth was no primitive planet. It was a crucible, a relentless training ground that had shaped humanity into a force unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Finally, Ambassador Irelak broke the silence. If what you say is true, then humanity is far more dangerous than we ever imagined. We focus too much on their lack of advanced technology and not enough on their raw potential. General Crix, still fuming, turned to Lomar. What do you suggest we do? Lomar paused, his eyes scanning the assembly. We could attempt to form alliances with humanity, but understand this, they are not to be controlled or manipulated. Humanity is a rising power, and Earth is their training ground. The best we can hope for is to be on their side when they decide to truly step onto the galactic stage. As the hologram of Earth slowly faded from view, the leaders of the Galactic Council exchanged uneasy glances. They had always thought of Earth as a backwater, an insignificant rock in the far reaches of space. Now, they realized that Earth had been training humanity all along, preparing them for the day when they would rise and claim their place in the stars. And that day was coming sooner than anyone had expected. The room remained thick with tension as the hologram of Earth vanished, leaving behind the realization that the galaxy had gravely underestimated humanity. The collected alien leaders, once confident in their superior technology and military strength, now found themselves contemplating the sheer unpredictability of a species that had thrived in chaos for millennia. Ambassador Irelak broke the silence again, his voice measured and cautious. We must reconsider our approach. Humanity's entry into the galactic fold is not just a diplomatic formality. They are different from any species we've encountered. While we relied on technology to advance and secure our position, humanity has relied on something far more primal: adaptation. General Crix's fury had yet to subside. Adaptation alone doesn't make them invincible, he growled. We still have technological superiority. What's a few resilient soldiers when our warships could level their planet? Lomar shook his head, his multifaceted eyes gleaming with insight. That would be a grave mistake. General, yes, you could strike Earth with overwhelming force, but humans won't fight you the way you expect. They'll fight like they always have, relentlessly, tactically, and with their survival instincts fully engaged. Remember, they've been waging wars for centuries. Long before they ever set foot in space, they will adapt to whatever tactics we use, and once they learn, they'll use those tactics against us. Commander Var, having listened intently to the exchange, spoke up. It's not just about fighting humans on Earth. We've seen their resilience even in the farthest corners of the galaxy. I've read reports of humans surviving on planets where our soldiers would perish within days, planets with hostile atmospheres, gravitational forces beyond standard, and predators capable of tearing apart the finest armors. Yet these humans not only survive, they thrive. Lomar tapped his console, bringing up an image of a human colony on the frozen planet of Ithar 3. The temperature there dropped to levels that would kill most species in hours, but humans had adapted. The display showed a group of human settlers constructing shelters, working together with a level of cooperation and speed that astonished the assembly. What was more impressive were the conditions: howling winds and blizzards, with temperatures plummeting to -90 degrees Celsius. And yet, there they were, smiling, laughing, and building a home in the snow. They endure, Lomar said quietly, because Earth taught them how. General Crix's golden eyes glinted with renewed frustration. So what? They can survive hostile environments. We can still overwhelm them with sheer numbers and firepower. But numbers and firepower don't guarantee victory. General, Kabla interjected, his tone thoughtful. Human history is filled with examples where they faced insurmountable odds and won. Wars where they were outnumbered, under-equipped, and against foes far more powerful than them. What you fail to understand is that their greatest weapon isn't their strength or even their technology, it's their determination. Kabla tapped a few keys, and another hologram materialized in the center of the room. This time, it showed a scene from the human colony on Lyric 7, a planet notorious for its frequent meteor storms. The hologram depicted a storm in full fury, massive chunks of rock crashing from the sky, exploding on impact. Yet, amidst the destruction, humans were seen running between shelters, coordinating evacuations, and salvaging what they could. Even as meteors fell around them, they continued their work without panic, each person driven by a shared goal: survival. This is what separates them from us, Mkabla continued. Where others see defeat, humans see opportunity. Where most would give up, they keep pushing forward. They are forged in adversity, shaped by a planet that forced them to become stronger with each generation. Earth wasn't just their home, it was their training ground. Var's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. And what happens when they start applying that training on a galactic scale? That is the question we must consider, Lomar replied. Humans have only begun to stretch their reach into space. For now, their technology lags behind ours, but they learn quickly, too quickly. Once they catch up, they will be a force unlike any we've seen, and they won't stop. Earth taught them that standing still means death. Their entire history is a testament to forward momentum. The room fell silent once more. The implications were clear. Humanity's entry into the galaxy was not just another diplomatic event, it was a shift in the balance of power, one that could alter the galaxy's future forever. Ambassador Irolax stood, breaking the stillness. We must take a new approach with humanity. Diplomacy, not domination, is our best path forward. If we treat them as equals, as potential allies, there's a chance we can coexist. But if we provoke them, if we underestimate them again... General Crick scoffed. You're suggesting we bow to them? No, Irolax said sharply. I'm suggesting we recognize their potential. Earth made them what they are, and if we're wise, we'll learn from them instead of making them our enemies. Kabla nodded in agreement. We've learned much today. Earth was their crucible, but the galaxy is their next frontier. We must be prepared. The assembly slowly dispersed, each leader lost in their thoughts, the gravity of the situation sinking in. They had viewed humanity as weak, insignificant. Now, they realized that Earth had been molding them into something far more dangerous: survivors, warriors, and explorers with an insatiable drive to push beyond their limits. As the doors closed behind the last ambassador, Lomar stood alone before the still hologram of Earth. He watched the blue-green planet spin serenely in the void, understanding better than most what was coming. Humanity was rising, and the galaxy had better be ready. As the doors of the council chamber slid shut, leaving Lomar in silence, he continued to gaze at the hologram of Earth. The planet rotated slowly, almost serenely, a stark contrast to the chaos and conflict that had shaped its inhabitants. To an outsider, Earth appeared fragile, just another habitable world in a galaxy filled with countless others. But Lomar knew better now. Earth wasn't just a world, it was a crucible, a place that had turned its people into something far more formidable than anyone had anticipated. Lomar's thoughts drifted back to the first reports of human resilience, how entire star systems had scoffed at the idea that such a primitive species could pose any real threat. They had seen humans as nothing more than upstarts, newcomers to the interstellar community who lacked the sophistication and technology of the older, more advanced species. Yet, those reports had been increasingly difficult to ignore. Time and again, humans had found ways to survive, and not just survive, but thrive in environments where most species would falter. There were stories of human colonists turning barren moons into thriving outposts, of human soldiers fighting battles in conditions that would kill other species in minutes, and of human engineers taking alien technology and improving it beyond its original design. There was one story that stood out to Lomar in particular, a story that had circulated quietly among the highest-ranking officials of the Galactic Federation but was rarely discussed openly. It was the story of Valcora, a planet thought to be uninhabitable due to its extreme environmental conditions. The atmosphere was toxic, the gravity too strong for most species, and the native fauna were aggressive and deadly. Valcora had been abandoned by the Federation centuries ago, deemed a lost cause after multiple colonization attempts had failed. But when a group of human explorers crash-landed on Valcora, something remarkable happened. At first, the Federation believed they were doomed. There was no way to retrieve them in time, and the assumption was that the harsh conditions of the planet would claim their lives within days. Weeks passed, then months, and still, there was no word from the humans. Most had assumed they were dead until the first signal came through. The humans had survived. Not only that, they had built a thriving colony on Valcora's surface. They had adapted to the gravity, found ways to purify the toxic atmosphere, and tamed the aggressive wildlife. What had been a death sentence for other species became just another challenge for the humans to overcome. They had turned the planet into their own, establishing a foothold where none should have been possible. Lomar knew this story well because he had seen the reports firsthand. The Federation had been forced to reclassify Valcora as a habitable world thanks entirely to humanity's intervention. It had been a wake-up call for those who thought Earth's people were weak. They had proven that their adaptability and determination could not be underestimated. As Lomar continued to watch Earth's hologram, his communicator chimed softly. It was a message from the Federation's intelligence division. Marked urgent, he tapped the device, bringing up the contents on a small screen projected from his wrist. The message was brief but startling. New reports indicate rapid technological advancements in multiple human colonies. Tactical review required. Humans showing signs of weaponized adaptive engineering. Lomar's breath caught in his throat. Weaponized adaptive engineering? He had heard rumors about humanity's military developments. But this was something different. If the humans had figured out how to weaponize their adaptability, to incorporate their survival instincts into their technology on a strategic level, then they were no longer just survivors, they were evolving into conquerors. Suddenly, the diplomatic approach Ambassador Irelac had proposed seemed more critical than ever. If the galaxy pushed humanity too far, if they provoked them into a full-scale conflict, there was no telling how far the humans would go. They were no longer bound by the limits of their homeworld. Earth had taught them to evolve. And now, the galaxy was their new training ground. Lomar tapped his communicator again, opening a direct line to Ambassador Irelac. His voice was steady, but there was an urgency behind it that couldn't be ignored. Ambassador, he began, I've just received new intelligence on humanity's latest developments. We need to accelerate our diplomatic efforts. If we don't bring them into the fold peacefully, we may not get another chance. There was a pause on the other end before Irelac responded. You're thinking what I'm thinking, aren't you? That humanity isn't just a threat. They could be the galaxy's greatest opportunity or its greatest downfall. Lomar nodded, even though Irelac couldn't see him. Exactly. We need to approach them with caution, but also with respect. They've earned that much. And if they refuse to join us peacefully? Irelac asked, his tone grim. Lomar stared at the hologram of Earth, feeling the weight of the decision that lay ahead. Then we do everything we can to avoid conflict. But if war comes, we have to be prepared for the possibility that humanity may be more than we can handle. With that, Lomar ended the transmission and turned his attention back to Earth. The humans were not just survivors anymore. They were something more, something that the galaxy had never seen before. They had been forged in the fires of a world that pushed them to their limits at every turn, and now, they were ready to push those limits even further. As Lomar stood alone in the chamber, he couldn't shake the feeling that the galaxy had crossed a threshold it could never return from. Humanity was rising, and they weren't just adapting to the galaxy, they were preparing to reshape it in their image. The future belonged to those who could endure, and humanity had proven they could endure anything. Now, it was up to the rest of the galaxy to decide how they would respond. Lomar watched as the hologram of Earth continued its slow, methodical rotation. The weight of the galaxy's fate seemed to rest on his shoulders in that moment. The Federation had seen humanity as a potential ally, a promising new player in the vast interstellar community. But now, the stakes were far higher. Humanity had evolved beyond anyone's expectations, turning the challenges of Earth into strengths, and they were now poised to become a force that could either elevate the galaxy to new heights or plunge it into chaos. The final decision wasn't his to make, but he knew what had to be done. They needed to engage humanity on equal footing, to offer them a seat at the table, not as mere participants, but as partners. The galaxy had to change its perception of humans, or they risked provoking a power they couldn't contain. The communicator on his wrist vibrated again, breaking his reverie. It was a new transmission, this time from Earth. Ambassador Lomar, a human voice echoed through the chamber, steady and direct. We've received your message and are prepared to discuss the terms of a galactic partnership. However, know this, we have no interest in becoming just another cog in your Federation's machine. We've survived on Earth by adapting, by overcoming impossible odds, and we expect to be treated with the same respect that we've earned. Meet us on equal ground, or not at all. Lomar's pulse quickened. This was it, the moment that could shape the future of the entire galaxy. He spoke calmly, carefully choosing his words. I hear you, and I understand. Humanity has shown resilience that has impressed the galaxy, and you've earned your place at the table. I'll bring your message to the Council, and I'm confident we can forge a partnership that benefits us all. The Federation wants allies, not subordinates. There was a brief pause before the human voice responded. Good, we'll be waiting for your terms, but be warned, Ambassador, we won't settle for less than what we deserve. We've trained for centuries on Earth, and we're ready to prove that our place in the galaxy was earned. The transmission ended, leaving Lomar standing alone in the silent chamber once more. He exhaled slowly, turning back to the hologram of Earth. A new chapter in galactic history was about to begin, and humanity stood at its center. The galaxy had witnessed their resilience, their ability to endure without the crutch of advanced technology. Now, it was time to witness their rise. Lomar tapped his communicator one last time, sending a final message to the Federation Council: prepare for negotiations with humanity. They're not just survivors, they're conquerors, and they're ready to take their place among the stars. The future depends on how we handle this moment. As the hologram faded and the lights of the chamber dimmed, Lomar felt the weight of history pressing down. Humanity had turned Earth into the ultimate training ground, and now, the galaxy would have to face the consequences. For better or worse, everything was about to change.